We all know that a great teacher can literally change a student's life, but what is it that makes a teacher great? For decades, that question has felt kind of like a mystery. Well, today, we're going to decode that mystery. We're going to look at how years of research combined with some incredible AI are giving us a whole new way to understand and, more importantly, improve teaching. So let's dive in.
To really get why this is such a big deal, we have to start right here. And this isn't just someone's opinion, okay? This is one of the most solid, consistent findings in all of education research. The number one factor we can actually control inside a school is the teacher in the classroom. That's it. So the stakes are incredibly high, which means getting teacher feedback and development right is absolutely essential.
And that really brings us to the core of the problem. See, on one hand, you've got the traditional way of doing things, maybe a once-a-year observation that can feel really subjective, maybe a little inconsistent. But on the other hand, there's this new evidence-based approach that's super specific, it's objective, and it's designed not just for checking a box, but for real, genuine growth. We're going to break down exactly what that looks like.
So here's our game plan. We'll kick things off with the problem. Then we'll get into a framework of 6 keys to great teaching. After that, we'll dig into the science behind it, see how AI actually brings it all to life, and then we'll wrap up by looking at what this means for the future of teacher feedback.
All right, first up, let's get into the main challenge here, the teacher quality problem. Or, more to the point, why our old-school methods for evaluation just aren't cutting it anymore.
Now, if you're an educator, I bet this all sounds painfully familiar. These traditional systems, they often use really vague criteria. So what one principal thinks is amazing, another might see as just fine. This leads to a focus on compliance, just ticking the boxes, instead of actual professional growth. And the worst part, teachers get left with feedback that isn't specific or actionable enough to help them actually get better at their craft.
Okay, so if the old way is broken, what's the fix? Well, that leads us right to our next part. A clear, structured framework that's built on 6 essential keys to great teaching.
And this right here, this is a massive shift in thinking. For way too long, we've talked about great teaching like it's some kind of magic, right? A mystical art you're either born with or you're not. But the research is so clear on this. It is not magic. It's a craft. It's a set of skills you can learn, that you can practice, and that you can perfect with the right kind of support.
And here they are. These are the skills. After sifting through decades of research, it all boils down to these 6 critical areas. Everything from how you structure a lesson and manage your classroom, to how clear your explanations are, how you check for understanding, keep students engaged, and use technology. Think of these as the fundamental building blocks of teaching excellence.
Now you might be thinking, okay, this sounds nice, but where did these 6 keys come from? Well, this framework isn't just a good idea. It's built on a mountain of solid evidence. So let's talk about the science and the research that's holding all this up.
To really see just how powerful this is, we don't even have to look at all 6. Let's just zoom in on one of them to get a sense of the research behind it. We're going to talk about clarity.
So what do we actually mean by clarity? Well, it's pretty much what it sounds like. It's how well your students get what you're explaining, what the directions are, and what they're supposed to be learning. Seems pretty basic, right? But its impact is anything but.
Okay, prepare to be amazed. According to John Hattie's groundbreaking research, and this guy synthesized over 800 different studies, teacher clarity has an effect size of 0.75. Now, to put that in perspective, an effect size of 0.40 is what we expect from a normal year of school. So, 0.75, that means a teacher who is exceptional at clarity can get almost 2 years worth of learning gains out of their students in a single year. That's just how powerful these specific skills are. It's incredible.
Or let's take another one, formative assessment, which is just a fancy way of saying checking for understanding as you go. 2 famous researchers, Paul Black and Dylan Wiliam, called the classroom a black box because for so long it was impossible to know what was really going on inside students' heads from moment to moment. And what did they find? They found that formative assessment was the key. It's what cracks open that black box so teachers can see what kids are thinking and adjust on the fly.
So, we have this amazing research-backed framework, but the big question is, how do you actually use it to give feedback to every teacher all the time? I mean, that sounds impossible, right? Well, that's where the technology finally comes into play. Let's look at AI coaching in action. And the process itself is surprisingly simple. A teacher just records a lesson on their phone or laptop and uploads it. Then, this really smart AI analyzes the entire lesson based on those 6 keys we talked about and gives them super detailed feedback. The teacher gets to see this whole dashboard with analytics, and they can even share the insights to have better coaching conversations with their principal. It basically takes all that theory and makes it practical for every single teacher.
So what does this all add up to? Let's zoom back out and talk about the future of teacher feedback and what this kind of approach really means for educators out in the real world.
The benefits here are just enormous. For teachers, you get immediate, totally non-judgmental, and really specific feedback whenever you want it. For school leaders, this saves countless hours of observation and evaluation time. But maybe most importantly, it means professional development can finally be driven by real data, letting everyone track real measurable growth over time.
You know, at the end of the day, this isn't really about a new tool. It's about a new culture. It's about shifting our schools from a culture of compliance, of just checking boxes, to a culture of continuous improvement, where every single teacher feels empowered with the insights they need to become the absolute best they can be.
It's a really powerful vision for the future of professional development and education, and it's going to be fascinating to watch how tools like this continue to evolve. If you're curious and want to explore the platform we talked about today, Learnalyze, you can check it out at learnalyze.net. Thanks so much for joining us.